What's up, everybody? Sharing is caring, so take this time, make an effort. Come on down. Boom. Hello, Stacy. Here you go. I'll let you do that. I, of course, am your host, your gracious host, Bork Snorkelbutt. I'm here with MaryLynn Bast. Together, we are Para with an Abnormal, the Para with a Normal podcast. And we have had, it's been a wild couple of weeks. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we will, our original guest, unfortunately, DeEtte, she had an emergency, a medical emergency, and is not going to be able to make it tonight. But we will have a very awesome special guest who's going to talk a little bit about what she's got coming up. So I'm really excited for that. In the meantime, I don't know if you've heard the news yet, MaryLynn, but she says, I'm out of Fireball.
Stacy's out of that. No, go get you some Fireball.
Oh my gosh. But I don't know if you've heard the news. But the lead singer of Three Doors Down has just come out that he has kidney cancer, stage 4 kidney cancer that has metastasized to his lungs. So it does not sound good. So I do hope, I'm not entirely sure how the whole Pope thing works, but I'm going to ask Mr. Pope for to spare Three Doors Down lead singer Brad something or other.
Yeah, I had not heard that.
They need to pick a pope so they could save him, right? Isn't that how it works? The pope gets so many miracles or something?
I don't know how that works.
I don't know either. Like, I mean, what else is the point of the pope, right, other than to do miracles, right?
Right. Hey, Michelle.
Hey. Your car's in the shop. Oh, there she is. Yeah, Haley, it is truly awful. I'm super bummed by that. All right, so let's go ahead and welcome in our guest, and then we'll talk a little bit more with her, and we'll get this party started. Howdy, Mercy. There we go. There she is.
Long time no see.
All right, we're gonna. Hey, she's wearing our shirt though. That's cool.
Representing.
Now she's gotta fix her audio so we can hear her. But we'll let her work on that. In the meantime, I think we need to give a good shout out to Booze on the Battleship.
Yep.
Great event. We did that. We did the Cajun Country Paracon, which both of those, Cajun Country and Booze on the Battleship, have already been renewed for next year. So get your tickets. Really awesome. We will be at both. She's got her high noon.
Cheers.
And we were just at the Bigfoot Festival as well.
Yep, and we did the Bigfoot Festival, and we visited the Starlight Hills Campground. Great for watching. 40 acres for you to roam free.
So I'm working on editing that. All I have to do is add the end credits and it'll be good to go.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Well, I have a real job.
Oh my God. Shayna, how are you?
I'm good. I'm busy, but good.
So you've got, for anybody that doesn't know, introduce yourself.
I'm Shayna. I'm from Southern California in Long Beach. And I'm also known as Sweet and Spooky. I'm a paranormal investigator. Love all things spooky, ghosts, spirits, and all of that good, fun stuff that we all love.
Hey, Jenny. So before we get into it, it is time for us to do Spirits for the Spirits, because I need this terribly so. I've got my Double Oak Woodford Reserve. Not too shabby. MaryLynn probably has her fireball.
I have my trusty fireball and my pair with an abnormal shot glass.
Ooh,
And
that's
Shayna's got
cute.
her. She's got
Shayna
her
will
high
have to
noon,
get
right?
you one.
Yes.
Cheers.
Mike really did need it.
Ooh.
Put hair on your chest, Mike.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's strong.
Is it Woodford Reserve?
Yeah, it's 90 proof. I didn't even realize.
Did you get your shipment yet?
Nope.
Okay. You have the
I
receipt
have.
for tracking.
Oh yeah, maybe. I have no idea where.
So what we're talking about is he found a Doc Holliday whiskey set. It actually has a gun that's apart, but it's in there and it's used as a what is it? The cork to be able to put it in. Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just spent some time in Tombstone in February. We spent a lot of time at the Doc Holliday bar there. And of course, I had to get my spooky stories because right next door is the original Undertaker. And now it's a coffee shop.
Oh.
Wow.
So the woman who works there, she says they see a shadow figure going in and out from the bar into the back where the alley is. Things move, all kinds of crazy stuff go on there.
Oh wow.
Have you been to Tombstone?
No, we're looking to go October, right?
Say
Yeah,
that
we
again?
were supposed to go with somebody.
Yeah. Ashley.
Ashley, yes. She's on here with us. Or, no, she's not.
I know Ashley. We should all go.
Yeah, join us.
Make it a party.
Yeah. I was actually hoping to meet up with her while we were there, but just the schedule, we were on itinerary and just there was no time. Hi, Ashley.
Do you know? Did Doc Holliday die in Tombstone?
No. Wait. I don't think he did.
He
I
had
know he died. Okay,
tuberculosis.
wow, he died. Yeah, he died from being sick, but
I mean, do you know where it was that he died? Was it in Arizona? I gotta look now.
I'm looking.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'm curious because I don't know, like, if he, because I know they were traveling a
I
lot.
think he did. I think he did stay in Arizona, but I may be wrong because
No, he died at the Hotel Glenwood Springs in Glenwood Springs, Colorado.
Wow, really?
Yep, he spent his last 57 days there.
he had tuberculosis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is that place still operational? Can we go visit it?
We
Which
can.
one?
Yes, it's still operational.
How cool would that be?
That would be really cool. And just looking at the picture here, it looks pretty. Yeah, that would be awesome to go see that.
Yeah. And then
They have an indoor water park there.
Yeah. What's that?
Indoor water park.
Ew, no.
Awesome.
Don't do those.
Well, they're fun to look at, but I wouldn't go in them.
Yeah, Crystal said Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Yeah. So, did you see that where like the OK Corral and stuff shootout happened?
Yep. Investigated over there too. Yeah, Tombstone's just super clear. It reminds me a lot of Virginia City.
Yeah.
There's just a lot less hills.
That's great.
You would think in the desert.
Yeah.
Have you been to Deadwood?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's
Where's
kind of the same as it's in South Dakota, but it's kind of the same as Virginia City, but a little different. It's right outside of Sturgis.
It's in South Dakota. Yeah. But that's where Wild Bill was killed.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You know, like Virginia City, you can go anywhere and it's haunted. Like the whole city is haunted, right? Same as Tombstone. I mean, there's ghost stories just walking down the street and people see figures. There's a winery, so of course I went to the winery, and why not? And I was chatting with the girl in there, and she's telling me her ghost stories in there. And there's not that many original buildings. I want to say the birdcage, if I'm remembering correctly, is one of the last original buildings. Because so many places were burnt down.
Oh, wow.
You know, just shit. So, but there's, I mean, the property is still there. Parts of different buildings are still there.
Right.
But yeah, it was really cool. I feel like you're stepping back in time. I was walking down the street and there's just like horses.
Oh, wow.
I don't see that in Long Beach. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, because I know there was
So,
a
did
guy
you-
that was. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there was a guy that was on one of the TV shows. I won't name it because Mike doesn't like the person. So, but it was showing that he was one of the hosts, and he would do the, what is it? They go out in the gunfight in the street and stuff, and then he was actually shot and killed.
Okay, so I know what show you're talking about. I know what episode you're talking about.
Yeah.
And what I thought was so hilarious is I wanted to watch the old Ghost Hunters episode before I went, and I couldn't find it. So I found the episode that you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. And they kept getting these disembodied voices, right? And they were like, oh my God, whoa, whoa, whoa. Come to find out, it was just somebody singing karaoke
Down
at
the
Doc
street.
Holiday, which is 2 doors down. Well, Friday night we had a party. It was like the meet and greet, and everything closes super early in Tombstone. But Doc Holiday's, the bar, stays open till 2 a.m. like a normal bar. And so
Wow.
we go there. I'm a few drinks in. So, of course, I think karaoke is a fantastic idea.
It's always a fantastic idea.
So I must have sang like 3 or 4 karaoke songs. And then I was like, holy shit, I was one of those disembodied voices at the birdcage. Hi, Annie.
Yeah, she's
Um,
always late, but she's
guess
always
it's
here. So
hotel.
thank you.
Hotel California, too, which is so fucking cliche. But whatever.
That's funny. While you were down there, did you visit the where they make the pizzas, or?
Tombstone.
Yeah. I even had to stuff the crust, too.
Oh, that's the best time.
I thought you were going to say, like the underground, like the tunnels and all that shit. And you're like, the pizza.
Well, did they do the ovens in the underground tunnels?
Yes.
So are there underground tunnels under Tombstone?
Yeah, there were mines there.
Yeah.
And the mines, I have to say, were probably the most active for us. We got a lot of EVPs in there. And what was crazy is those EVPs, they were back and forth, like conversations. So we really got to piece together who was down there, or at least who we believe would be there in that moment talking to us. I don't know about consistently. I'm sure spirits come and go, but we were
Do
talking.
you think it was residual, or were they having like in?
There was a intelligent haunting there who was speaking to us. And what was really special was the man who runs the mines. He's had experiences on there that have scared him. What we were able to piece together from the EVP sessions were there's spirits in there that don't think he belongs in there, or maybe at one point he was in danger, and there is an intellectual spirit that was talking to us who has become to appreciate and be protective of him. And so he wanted him to know that, like, yes, I'm the one who helped you out that time you got lost, or when you were scared, or whatever. And so when we were leaving, he actually shook my hand and thanked me, which I've never been thanked after an investigation before. So that was really awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, James.
What up, James? James is the clip commander.
He's a what?
So Natasha is in, and so she's her and her. Go ahead. So Natasha and her husband own the Starlight Hills campground where we stayed and went and glamped, or should I say, I went glamping and enjoyed the location.
I would go glamping.
Yes. So we'll have that out soon.
What's your definition of glamping, though? Is that just a location that has like a legitimate shower and restroom? and then you can rough it, or
So they actually had a dome tent with the heater and all of that. The bed, it had a couch, and it was really cool just being in there. And then they had a like the solar system up in the top of it where you can shine it up at night and see. And then at the front of the dome was just the clear vinyl, so you could look out and just see the sunset or the sunrise and just see the scenery, and then hear all the noises and hear all the coyotes. And we actually had the first night something shaking the tent.
and it wasn't Mike.
It was not.
No, it was. He was sound
Mike
asleep
didn't
in his
do that.
bed. Yeah, he didn't even move.
Were there any goats?
There was no goats, but
Oh.
there are entities there, and then also Bigfoot.
Oh,
So it's Bigfoot
so what do
country.
you think was rattling the tent?
I'm hoping it was Bigfoot.
Right? Yeah. And yes, Crystal, I did get ants, actually. I spilt my Sprite.
He spilled a drop of Sprite, and they like come in on the tent, and he's freaking out.
I'm like, I'm out.
Post crunch.
Yep.
Yeah, I should have brought some. I could have used it. But we didn't you, like on the third night, you got to see like two bobcats humping or something?
Yeah, something like that. And then this whippoorwill was right outside, and those things get really loud when they're talking. So I just took and shined the light out, and it's like he took off, but the sound like the wingspan was huge. So I don't know how big it was, but it was big.
Okay, I don't know what a whippoorwill is. This is city girl over here. What's a whippoorwill?
It's a big bird. I've never seen one.
Okay.
All I just know is they say whenever they're making their noises, they say whippoorwill.
Well, are there Mothman sightings there? Could have
Possibly.
been. Ooh.
There's a whippoorwill.
I've always wanted to experience a Mothman.
They're only about 9 inches long.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they're very tiny.
Then I think we had a Mothman there, because I mean, it sounded like it was a huge one, because I know little bitty.
They weigh about 2 ounces.
Yeah, no, this was something different.
Could it maybe an eagle? Are there any, not eagle, owl?
It could be a barn owl or something like that, but just the whippoorwill is what was making the noise. And whenever I shined the light, that's what it stopped and took off. So it may be two different things.
That's a pretty cool name.
So it's spelled whip or will.
Whip or will.
And that's where Natasha's husband's name is Will.
That's true, yeah. Also annoying.
And where is this located?
It is in North Carolina. What's the name of the town? I can never remember the name.
Stick.
Have there been any
Yes.
UFO sightings there as well?
That's a good question. Natasha, you're on there. Have you heard anything about UFO sightings up in that area? Now, I do know that there's a lot of cryptid sightings because it's right in the black, what's it called? Blackfoot Mountains or whatever, which is like the beginning of the Smoky Mountains.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is huge for Bigfoot activity. Huge.
Yeah, and they have Bigfoot things everywhere.
Like 10,000, 15,000 people showed up. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was huge.
And that is what she said.
But they said that because of the weather, the Bigfoot festival did not have as many people as it usually does.
It rained and stuff.
Yep.
It was muddy as hell.
Yes, it was. And Natasha is saying that she has not seen any UFOs, but have to research that.
Yeah, it rained the entire time we were out there.
Yes.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But it was still good. We did good. Got to meet a lot of people.
And did you guys go like Bigfoot hunting?
At the campsite.
Okay. Well,
But not during the Bigfoot festival.
So, Shannon, your birthday's coming up.
It is.
June.
Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Can you?
Yeah. We'll. I'll be turning 21 years old. You know.
Love it.
Yes. And
Cheers.
Here's to 21. Oh, I'm not 21 yet. Okay, I'm turning 22.
Okay.
So this is
Right. To 22. Because I don't know about you.
Splash. Yeah, I'm just gonna be hanging out in the Queen Mary. I've spent the last few birthdays there. Gonna be interesting. There's a lot of places on the ship that they have closed to the public. I mean, they've only
Really?
got the first class pool closed to the public.
Isn't that where a kid drowned?
No, Jackie, there's never actually a reporting of Jackie drowning in that pool. But there have definitely been experiences of a girl that we have given the name Jackie. And I have my own theory about her. I don't know if she's I always watch the same as Aragorn.
Oh, Aragorn from Lord of the Rings.
But she's very interactive and she's there. And I just was investigating there last weekend in the first class pool with Becca with the Great Ghost Project. And, she made our equipment light up. And, yes, Annie, come to the Queen Mary. I'll send you some info. Anyway, I got distracted. So Jackie, there's never actually any reported drowning of a little girl named Jackie drowning in the pool. However, there has been experiences and voices and videos and pictures captured of her. I don't know if she was a spirit that was on the ship and just likes to hang out in the pool. We don't know if she's just a spirit that caught a ride on the Queen Mary and was like, hey, a lot of cool people hang out here. I'm going to hang out here. And where does she want to hang out? The pool, right? I mean, my kids always want to be at the pool.
That's true. So the Queen Mary, before we get into the Queen Mary, Nick Sarlo's in the chat, and he's got an awesome show called Paranormal on the Tracks.
Yes. So
you can check that out. It's a great podcast, and he's got some cool stuff coming out as well.
And we are going to be a sponsor for him.
Correct. Yeah. So we will be working in unison to make sure that we will rub our genitals together and make magical sunshine or something. I will
let the two of you do that.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds like a job for Bork Snorkel Butt.
Yep.
What makes the Queen Mary so significant? Because I don't know anything about it.
Well, in what aspect? In historical aspect or in paranormal aspect? Because the in itself is just amazing. It was a Royal Mail ship. So that's what RMS Queen Mary stands for. And she was originally built to be a private linear ship. And then the Depression happened. Construction had to be halted. And so they went to the royal court and said, hey, we're going to name the ship after you. And we need your support. So they said, okay, fine, but she'll be a Royal Mail ship. And hence the Queen Mary. She was the fastest steamliner in the fleet. And so when World War II came around, she was used as a Navy jet to transport troops from London to New York and everywhere else in between. And so there was a lot of years. Then the biggest event, she never got hit during World War II, but the Queen Mary would have to go with zigzags to avoid getting hit by U-boats.
Wow.
And there was another ship. This is another name I can never pronounce correct. Korakoa. And it was a small Navy ship, and it got in the way, and the Queen Mary's too big, couldn't slow down, and it basically cut that ship in half, and about 200 to 300 sailors on that ship passed away.
Damn.
The very, very brim of the ship is the rope room. The rope room is extremely haunted. There's experiences there. It's another location that isn't open to the public, but I'm going to try to work on that, see what I can do, because I would like to go in there. I've been in that room twice, and I've been with Becca. And if you know Becca from the Grey Ghost Project, she investigates with such respect and integrity. I have utmost respect for her, and she really knows her history of the ship. And she always plays a song for a specific spirit that's in there, and she's almost built a relationship with them. So really interesting, yeah. I mean, a lot of the spirits know her, and she keeps her data log is insane. She keeps notes of every single investigation, and she's had hundreds upon hundreds of investigations on the ship for years. Even when COVID hit, she was still on that ship.
Oh wow! Hey, Ron.
What up, Ron? And yeah, and every night. So it rammed that ship, cut it in half. All the people on that ship died.
Not all, but a lot of them.
The rope room is at the very front hull of the ship. Did that get damaged in the hit, or?
It got damaged, so water rose up in the ship, but it was still able to carry on to its destination. What I think is interesting is before I even really got into the paranormal, I mean, paranormal's always been a part of my life, but before I got into investigating, I took a tour with my son, and at that time he was, I want to say, 5. And my son was almost completely nonverbal at that point. He's autistic. Yep. So we were taking there, and the tour guide's talking, and he's going, "Mama, water. Mama, water. Water. Mama." And I'm like, "Shh." But he repeats things a lot that he hears. So I just thought it was he was just, saying whatever. And then the tour guide was like, "And this is the part of ship that hit, and then water rose. If you look down, you can see where the water rose." I just looked at him like, "What are you seeing that I can't see right now?" Which is really interesting. But so the ship has a lot of, significance with the war and everything. So I believe there to be a lot of military on the ship, like sailors and whatnot. But I think a lot of
seamen on that ship is what you're saying.
There's a lot of what? There was a lot of seamen. So much seamen. Yes.
So much.
But before and after the war, it was a luxury cruise liner. Let us not forget what we all to this day really enjoy doing on luxury cruise liners, which is eating, drinking, hanging out with friends, talking. Some people didn't even need to make the trip. They were just like, "Hey, we want to have an experience on the Queen Mary," and that was their vacation. So, and there's some stories I like are that some people would go onto the ship to say goodbye to their friends and family. "Hi, Pooch." And the ship, they would get so drunk in the rooms, and the ship would take off. They would have to send other boats to go get the stowaways off and say, "No." They were just
but were there any civilian deaths on the Queen Mary?
Yes. So what we know is of 57 deaths. Does that mean there's only 57 deaths? We don't know, because if you look at the record too, it says unidentified woman or unknown passenger. You have to think about huge heads. Like Winston Churchill was on that ship a lot. I'm not saying Winston Churchill was straight, I have mad respect for that guy. But there were a lot of politicians, celebrities, having people in a room that they don't want to be in their room, right?
Yeah.
Something happens and goes away, and they just don't worry about it. We'll take care of it, kind of hush hush.
Oh, snap.
It was different back then, I don't know how much different, but so yeah, there's only 57 that we know of.
God dang.
I would say the most activity I've ever had on the ship is when I put my equipment down and I just have fun with my friends. And it's almost like spirits are way more attractive. They get asked the same questions a million times. What's your name? How did you die?
Yeah.
So and they're just like, ugh. Then they see people having fun and they're like, "I want to drink." I got responses of, "Can you smell champagne?" My yes flashlight turned off. "Do you miss champagne?" "Yes." "Can I pour you a glass?" "No." They were there for the party.
Right, yeah. And so you just turned it into a paranormal party now.
Which I am okay with.
Yeah. So, your son is autistic?
He is.
Just out of curiosity, has he seen our show at all?
No.
No? Have you seen our show?
Yes.
I ask because we've had some autistic children watch our show and they've really connected with it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have him watch.
Yeah, because it's more lighthearted. It's it's more funny. It's a little more relatable, I guess. That I'm a weirdo anyway, so
Yeah, he'd probably like you then.
yes. Hey,
He
Bill!
Dr.
Are you coming to Paranormal Rockdown?
What was that?
Are you coming to Paranormal Rockdown?
No. When is that again?
July 18th. And then Gettysburg is July 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Send me that info again. My son's birthday is the 17th of July.
Oh, okay.
Is the 19th.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Little cancer.
Well, I was gonna say, if you make it down, you could try Bill's nuts and you could eat my fruity bits.
Well, that's all I needed. You had me at fruity bits and nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really excited. Bill's put in a lot of hard work to make sure that Mike's fruity bits will be available for everyone to enjoy and munch on. So please, folks, munch my fruity bits. Come on down. It's going to be great. But yes, no, Annie, definitely. We've definitely had a lot of connections with kids, especially those with autism, that have just loved our show. And that is, if I don't do anything else with this career, and we're just kind of able to connect with some of these kids with something that maybe they'll be passionate about, that they can connect with as they get older, then
just making them happy.
That's huge. That's huge. That's the whole point of life, right?
Thank you, Michael.
So, thanks, Mike. Michael Bloomfield in the house.
I think kids on the spectrum too also are very much more intuitive, and I think their senses are much more heightened. I know their, hearing and sight and smelling is heightened, so I think their psychic sense is heightened as well. My son had a lot of experiences where I'm just like, who are you talking to? And I know it's not just normal talk. He's actually talking with someone.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if they were aware of autism back when I was a kid, I think I easily could have been diagnosed as a higher spectrum autistic person.
Have you ever done one of those tests, those online quizzes?
No, but I probably could.
Yeah.
We need to do it now. Do it online.
Right now.
Let us all know if you're on the spectrum.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that is in fact the case. But yeah, right.
But if you found out, what would you do with that?
Honestly, I don't think anything would change. I would just, because I already believe that we need to have a lot of support for the autistic community.
Yeah.
I think that. Especially, I think the biggest thing with kids that are autistic is that they're very impressionable.
Yes.
And I think it's really important that we show them people that can have good impressions upon them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it really sucks right now that that celebrities and whatnot, everything is geared towards being bad, being naughty, sex and drugs. And it's just, there's not a lot of, the days of Mr. Rogers is gone, so there's not a lot of positivity, not a lot of positive role models out there. So I would love for there to be more, especially because I think it's really important for the autistic community to have those people to help influence them in the right directions.
I have a somewhat passion project that I've been putting into the works that I haven't fully developed yet that has something to do with that. So maybe we can talk some more about that too, because I think it'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Is it Jenga just with 3 blocks?
Huh?
Is it Jenga but just with 3 blocks?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That way you never lose.
Well, the more people I meet in the community too, the more conventions I go to and all these things. And I'm very open because I'm very proud of my son. I like saying he has autism because I like the people to go, well, what's he like? And I love to tell them how amazing he is. You know, if you meet one person with autism, you met that one person. You can't put them in a box. So
well, you can. It just
saying like, oh,
you know what I mean? You're not going to hold it forever.
yeah, or people say, no, I was just diagnosed and on the spectrum. It made a lot more sense now looking back at my childhood or you know, my nephew or my son or, you know, so many more people are in the community. And it not only is it important for them, but it's important for us, their families, to have some support too.
Exactly. And you know what? Autism has been around. We just didn't have a name for it. You're trying to tell me that what, Colonel Custard, whatever, wasn't autistic? They didn't try to fight like a gajillion Indians by himself. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Colonel
That's
Custard. Well, I look back at school and I'm like, oh, that girl in my class was definitely autistic, or so-and-so. I thought they were always a little strange, but they were definitely autistic. But had I known what autism was, I feel like I would have known the tools to be their friend. Because there were a lot of people that I wanted to be friends with because I didn't want them to feel like they were outsiders, and I would try, and there was like a disconnect, you know?
Yeah.
But if someone had explained to me what those disconnects were and how to bridge that gap, that'd been nice.
Yeah. Mike!
Hey, Mike.
Mike from Charm City Paranormal in the house. What up? We've talked a little bit about autism, which is awesome. We've talked a little bit about the Queen Mary. We've talked a little bit about Tombstone, a little bit about Virginia City, a little bit about Deadwood even. So where is next for Sweet and Spooky?
Penhurst Paracon.
When is that, and what is that?
That is next week, I believe, and it's at Penhurst.
What is Penhurst?
Penhurst
Pennsylvania.
It's in Pennsylvania, and it was a state school. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's kind of a nice segue talking about autism into Penhurst, because it's always been a bucket list of mine. Because back in the day, if your child was autistic, the doctor would tell you your child will never be an active member in society. You won't be able to parent them. You don't know how to handle them, and you need to put them in this school. And so I think it had good intentions, you know. Kids there were able to get the therapies that they otherwise may have not received. However, people are greedy. And when the state is funding, and the more patients you have, the more patients you want. And then you're overloaded and overworked, and the conditions just got terrible. So I really want to go there and give a mama hug to the spirit.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like someplace like Penhurst, they didn't have the patience for these kids because they didn't understand.
Oh, it makes my stomach sick hearing these stories. Like if a child bit, they would have even an adult, they would have their teeth pulled because they just didn't have the resources. They didn't have the staff to work with that child and make sure that child didn't only harm themselves, but other patients and other staff members.
You know, it sounds weird, but I've always thought of Alice in Wonderland is kind of like a cautionary tale to autism. If that makes any sense. Right?
Through the looking glass?
Yeah. I mean, I always looked at it as Alice as this different individual who was sent around to all these different places. And I always felt like we're in her imagination as she struggles with, you know, her autistic self and what she's going through. And, you know, and the things that she didn't have to go through that her family made her go through. So, and Penhurst always, that kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
There's an extremely, extremely important film called A Boy Called Poe, P-O, and it's probably the one and only films, television shows out of all entertainment that really moved me. And I'm saying, when I was done watching that film, and I think that movie came out when my son was like,
that's 10. Crazy, boy.
I took out all the pots and pans and I got down on the floor and played with him, because it made me really understand how, just because I don't see the world the way he sees it, he still sees me, and sometimes I just need to go into him. Yep. So I think we can also take that as investigators into different locations, not just Penhurst, but when we go to these places, can they see us?
Right.
Can we see them? Is our world aligned to theirs? And I think it's really important to kind of look at investigating all those different aspects. And also, spirits might be different. Some spirits may be able to see us, and some other spirits may not, or hear us, or some may think we're the ghosts,
But see, that kind of also raises the question that if they can't speak, the autism, when they pass, can they speak as a spirit? Do they take that with them?
I don't know. And my personal probably theory is that they probably communicate with you here, earthbound, the same way he would communicate with you there. So, like, if I was investigating a room at Penhurst and I knew the patient liked to line up objects, I'd probably like to line up objects, and see if I took one out, they don't like that. Are they going to move it back?
Right.
Right.
Or things of that sort. Or there was a really interesting episode of Kindred Spirits where Amy and Adam investigated, and this man was killed, and it was a totally tragic story. But he had some kind of intellectual disability. Now that is different than autism. Autism is not an intellectual disability; it is a developmental. But they knew he liked to count money, and they knew he liked toy cars. So they put toy cars down. They caught a disembodied voice saying "vroom vroom," and then they put money down, and then the money was like this, and it's like this. So I feel like maybe try to connect with them as if they were still living.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask everybody a question now, and the people in the chat can answer this too.
Battery, please charge.
And it's a charge. I will, we'll get to it. What movie that you watched
battery, please charge.
made you bawl your eyes out? The one movie. Let me see if I can get my charger. Would you be so kind?
Battery, please charge.
Okay, it's so mean to me. I'm trying. Yep, no, a charger with battery bank. Yep, people. Woohoo! Let's go.
What are they saying?
There we go. All right, there we go. And it keeps telling me I need to charge it, so I'm just gonna plug this in. Beep-boop. Okay, so for you, Shayna, what movie made you bawl your eyes out?
I'm sure there's been several, but just as I just mentioned, I would say a boy named. Is it a boy named or a boy called Poe?
Would you say that's the most impactful?
Oh.
Right? I mean, I want the one that hit you so hard that you're dying. Brian says Math, which I doubt. Tay Ham, The Green Mile, that was a great one.
Yes.
What do you got for me, Shayna?
Fried green tomatoes.
Fried green tomatoes. It's really interesting.
No, not fried green tomatoes. Steel magnolias.
I have never seen either one.
You've never seen Steel Magnolias?
Neither one of them.
Girls in this chat, tell me you've seen Steel Magnolias and cried your eyes out at the end.
Wonder was a really good book. I'm not asking about books, weirdo. What about you, MaryLynn? What do you got?
Honestly, I don't, because I have a tendency to, when it gets to the emotional part of the movies, I get up and walk away because I don't want to sit there and cry.
So you've
I
never.
distance myself.
So there's no movie that you could say is the most raw emotional movie for you?
No, because I get up and walk away before I get to that point.
So
I'll
what
start getting.
do you do that the most?
I don't remember because I don't let it get to there.
So you've never cried at a movie?
No.
Okay, Ron, this one's for you, buddy. I know you're in the chat.
She cried during The Notebook, and we all know it.
I've never
Right.
seen The Notebook either.
So Haley Joy says, "Oh my gosh, Magnolias, yeah, that one always gets me." Fast and the Furious 7.
Wasn't that was a tribute to Paul Walker when he died?
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh,
I got
Marcy
up and walked
Lee.
away on that one too.
The Color Purple.
Oh, The Color Purple is good.
With Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
So for me, it is the dumbest movie. But again, you never know what's going to like affect you, right? I had no idea. I went into this movie, had no idea what I was walking myself into. Because if you watch the movie, I guarantee you no one else is going to have the same emotional reaction as the movie that I did. But for me, you don't mean The Mask, you mean Mask.
I
My
know
bad.
what you're talking about, and that it's based on a true story.
No.
It is pretty, yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly the movie you're talking about now. I for some reason I thought you meant The Mask with
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. There's no way I heard that movie. Where the Fern Grows, that's a sad book. We're not talking about books, Julia. God. But me,
she's a teacher, so she's gonna say books.
I know. It was AI, artificial intelligence.
Well, the one with not with Robin Williams where he's AI.
No, AI. It actually starred.
What's your girlfriend, right? What's her name?
It was. It starred the kid who was in The Sixth Sense.
Oh, no, I'm talking about.
And Jude Law.
I saw that one.
Yeah, I probably cried through 75% of that movie.
What made you cry?
It legitimately just broke me as a human being. It was the crazy. A lot of that I think has to do with my own life issues. But now,
yep.
I think if everybody goes back and decides to watch that movie, it'll give you some insight into how I viewed my life.
So you connected with
watch
it.
that movie and psychoanalyze you.
Right. Yeah. So you could do it with that movie. Also, I've only ever cried at one other movie. I've only cried at two movies in my life. The Boy in the Stripped Pajamas.
Striped Pajamas, The Holocaust. It's really fucked up and sad. That's a good one.
Yeah. The Pianist is actually a very good movie.
Yes.
It didn't make me cry, but beautiful movie, beautiful. But the other movie that made me cry like a little baby was Big Fish with Ian McGregor.
Yeah.
That movie fucking
Surprisingly,
nailed me.
a lot of Robin Williams movies have moved me, like Patch Adams.
Oh, great movie.
Oh, such a good one. And then I think one of my all-time, the end of Mrs. Doubtfire gets me every time. I just can't help but cry. But What Dreams May Come.
Oh, sure.
Oh, not only is it just beautiful to like watch, but just
talking about you.
Hey, Ashley.
Yeah, Big Fish got me, and AI, artificial intelligence, got me bad.
See that? And it's with the kid from Sixth Sense, Haley Joel Osment.
Haley Joel Osment, yeah, that's him.
Before he got arrested the second time.
Yes. What is it with that kid? Have you seen
I
his?
thought a child actor would grow up and have problems. I mean, that's just so surprising.
Right. But though I will say the other movie that really got me, and I mean I came damn close, was The Last Samurai.
No, I didn't see that.
No, and which will go down as probably one of the greatest movies ever made, and it actually stars Tom Cruise.
I'm gonna say Tom Cruise.
Yeah, freaking phenomenal movie. If you haven't seen it, it is absolutely worth watching.
Okay, so Disney films are notorious for making everybody cry, right?
Mm-hmm.
However,
Movie? Sure.
when Bambi, mom dies right away. It's fucked up. But in Canto, the very end, not in Canto. Why am I all over the place?
The Ghost in
Let me guess. My son loves this movie. Coco.
Coco. Okay.
Sorry, my daughter was just listening to Canto, so that got stuck in my head. But Coco, the very end, I don't care who you are, how old you are, how tough you are. If you've ever experienced losing someone important to in your life and you watch that movie, forget about it. My daughter won't even watch it because she's, I don't want to see it. It makes me cry.
Wow. See, and there are movies that deliberately go out of their way to F you, you know? And I don't like that. Like Marley and Me, you know, the dog movie, like, you know, that's like, right? Like that doesn't count. That doesn't count because that's what they're going for, right?
But it still made you cry.
If it involves animals or children, just forget about it. I'm going to cry my eyes out. But what was that movie based on a true story where the dog, his owner died at a train station, and then he would go to that train station every single day and wait for him to get off the train?
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. But it's interesting how certain movies can affect people differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for example, a great example is, like she said, Holocaust movies make me too sad. But like The Pianist, great movie. Didn't make me cry, but I know some people that did.
You need
right?
to see it that differently.
Oh, okay, right. I should have. Yeah, right.
Yeah, see, I can't watch anything like World War movies and stuff, anything that has military and they're actually killing people. I can't watch those because I actually feel it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How is it that you feel it? It's fake.
But I still feel that energy because I know it was true.
I get you. I thought you meant you feel like they're dead.
Yes.
When we watch films like that, my husband, for the most part, will watch them before me, and then he knows to tell me not to look because I'm the same as you. It just hurts, and I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
So I went and I took my dad. It was the last movie we saw together. I took my dad to go see 1917, which is a World War I movie. And if you haven't seen it, it's freaking beautiful. What a beautifully well done movie. It was the only movie and the only time I ever saw my dad cry.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And he cried at the end, and he just said it reminds him too much of the people that he lost in Vietnam.
Yep.
Which is pretty wild. Because my dad, you know, all the stories my dad told me about Vietnam, he was on a destroyer. He just partied the whole time.
Well, that's what he tells you. He doesn't tell you about the other.
Right. And I think that's what's so crazy, you know, and it's one of those things where veterans, you know, they hide a lot of their trauma internally, and you know, so do you know, kids and people with autism. They do the same thing, right? So it's really interesting, that connection.
In the military, you're told to hide that, and you're told or coached to everything is fine, because if you are experiencing anything, you're either out or you're done or you're put. You can't be in. And then when people are trying to retire out of the military and they're trying to explain what's going on, then it's a whole other issue. They're like, but you never said anything before. It's like, because I couldn't.
Right.
And my husband's retiring July 1st, and I won't go into that, but we're kind of, you know, dealing with the retirement process. And he's been in the Air Force for 23 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then my when my grandpa was sick, he hated being idle at all. He was very, very, very active. I mean, at 85 years old, he was still hitching his boat and going fishing out in the ocean 3 times a week. So he was bored. So I was like, hey, you might like this. And I brought over Band of Brothers. Could not watch it. As a World War II veteran, he watched the first episode and said, nah, I don't want to see it. He's like, I don't want to, you know. I was like, oh, sorry.
Wow. And I will say this too, Band of Brothers is probably my number one greatest TV series ever made.
It was amazing. So I really thought he would like it because it was so realistic, and they took actual stories of the soldiers and interviewed them. Really got to know these men to make sure their stories were portrayed accurately. But I think for the men and women that were involved in the war, it was a little too accurate. And at this point, they're too old to go to therapy, so they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. They're like, nah, we're done. We out. Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy. I think that's cool that the power of film, right? And then it makes me think about, the afterlife. You had mentioned earlier, like, can they see us? Can they try to interact with us? Do they know that we're there? Is it a parallel dimension that we're in? Is it what is it that we transfer over to after this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, and do those memories of trauma follow you?
Well, you've heard stories of people, like, especially in children, and MaryLynn, you might have something to say about this too, who have past life experiences. And some say, birthmarks are where people were shot, or some people might have something wrong with their leg, but they were injured, or some people might have asthma, they drowned in a past life. So is that
what does three nipples mean? Asking for a friend.
What?
What does 3 nipples mean? Asking for a friend.
Is someone in the chat asking that?
Maybe. But I'm just saying,
nubbin?
What's that?
A nubbin? On Friends, Ross's nubbin?
Right, his nubbin, yes.
Oh no, it's Chandler. Chandler's nubbin.
Chandler.
So like,
but yeah, so I didn't know that about the birthmarks. That's interesting.
Yeah. So like my daughter, she has a very like distinct birthmark on her leg, and I've always wondered, what does that mean? Or some of us have, like, I had a friend who had like a debilitating fear of airplane hangars. And
wow.
If we drove by an airport, she would almost have a panic attack going by an airplane hangar. So it made me wonder, like, were you some kind of like accident or attack or something like that? Like, it's just not a normal fear. Heights, okay, I can understand.
Well, for me, it's like I have a fear of heights, but I also know in a past life, I actually went off of a bridge in a vehicle with 2 kids and I couldn't save them. So that's always, and I've had 2 past lives that did that. But talking about the birth part,
you didn't learn the first time?
I guess not. 2 different times. But on the birthmarks, my mother was pregnant with my sister, and she actually saw a man get shot in the head. And my sister came out with a birthmark right where the guy was shot.
Wow.
And did not grow hair at that spot.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That is
actually, I think my son Bentley is my past brother-in-law. That's pretty wild.
Yep. That can happen.
Yeah, it's got to, right? Essentially we recycle in a way, right? We keep coming back.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, right? Like, do some of us get to a point spiritually or energetically where we move on to something else, right?
Well, that's kind of my theory is whenever you are spiritual or whenever you're going through the past life, you're reincarnating because you're learning. And once you get on the spiritual path and you're helping others and doing everything, you have the choice. Do you want to come back, or are you ready to move on? And then that's where you can become a guide, or you just move on. So that's
Well,
my
this is
theory.
what I want to
My
know.
theory
When do we
aligns
get
with as
to-
well.
What's that?
So my theory aligns with MaryLynn's as well. I think that we have our spirits have a free will, and so if we're like, hey, I want to work on this, I want to do that, I want to raise my vibration.
Yep.
Go down there and learn this. And what's kind of interesting is I had 2 mediums tell me each time that I was about to have a baby, and so like, especially with my son, that was bizarre.
Wow. Do
So
2 mediums make a large?
yeah, no, extra large.
If they come together, yes.
Yeah, and I just wanted to lead her a baby, not an extra large fart.
Well, see, that's what's funny is whenever I was 5, because I knew that I had abilities starting at 4. Whenever I was 5, my mom brought her friend over, and I reached up and touched her belly, and I said, "Baby," and she had just found out that morning she was pregnant.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
I just want to know, when do we get to graduate? Because I really want to go to Uranus.
You've got a lot of more lives to go before you get to Uranus level.
And that's what I was wondering
slowly
about.
work into.
So, but here's another thing too. So, okay, as funny as that sounds, what if I'm slightly accurate here? So what I mean is, like, MaryLynn is intuitive, right? She's a psychic, she's a medium, she can reach out to things. What if this is her last hurrah here? And she doesn't even know it.
I feel it
Is.
is.
And what if she's going off to whatever's next? Maybe she's going to Uranus. And she will never be back.
MaryLynn, will you please take Mike to Uranus with you?
I will take Mike to Uranus with me.
Thank you.
Else he's gonna haunt Earth forever.
Terrorize.
Good noises.
But I mean,
People.
what if that is actually a thing where we're here, and then you get to a point, you grow so much, and then all of a sudden one day you're just not. The golden days are past. You don't realize you're in the good old days until the good old days are over. And now you're on to completely something different, new, scary. The people are different. The spirits are different. Everything's changed.
That's life and death.
So if we're reincarnated and go to different planets, do you think other beings haunt planets the way humans haunt Earth?
I fully believe that. I swear to Jeebus, I swear on the brand new soon-to-be Pope, okay? I believe with every fiber of my being that there was a ultimate nuclear war between Mars and Venus, and they were both inhabited at one point, and they blew each other up. I absolutely believe that. Maybe it was millions of years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but that's absolutely what I believe.
Is that where you see all the divots and the holes and stuff in the planets?
No, I think those are meteors after the atmosphere has been destroyed and gone. And I think the reason why they both look so different is just different technologies that were used to basically destroy the planets. I think they hated each other so much. But I do think that there was life there, and I do believe that both of those locations are haunted.
I mean, honestly, the more I investigate and the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know, and anything is possible.
Yes.
That is the awesome part, right? That's the freaking the universe, man. It's huge, right? I don't think we realize, as a human, as just a flesh being, it's hard to, I guess, fathom how truly infinitesimal we are on this planet.
You can't put anything in the box anymore. I mean, I think it is important as us to have our core beliefs and our faith and certain things that, or kind of ground us. But to say that is the all and be all and put it in this box and nothing else can make sense because it doesn't fit. Get him, puppy.
See somebody. Yeah. Okay, go. She's got to go tell me about. Yeah. So right, like, what if? And that's the other thing too. Like with religion, maybe you believe in Jesus and the Pope, and maybe you're Jewish or you're a Baha'i faith, and that works here. But then, like, let's say you graduate onto whatever's next, and then you find out it's the Great Gorka Morka. They've got something completely different.
And that's the thing with religion. I think religion and faith are different, right?
Yes.
Religion, you have these rules and you have this box. Faith and spirituality is you just believe in a higher being. And I think when you take away, I'm not going to get too into religion because I don't want to offend anybody or, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know anything about religion.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're all believing in a higher being.
Yes.
But there's a different name. And I spent some time with Andrea Perrin. You know Andrea Perrin?
Mm-mm.
She was one of the daughters who grew up in the Conjuring house.
Oh,
Okay.
And she actually had more experiences with UFOs, UAPs at her house than spirits. Not to say that house and that property is not haunted, because it is AF. However, she had a lot of experiences, and her dad did too. And what she was telling us is that there are other beings and other planets, and yes, they all believe in a higher power, which is so interesting because we do too. And I think that connects us spiritually to them.
Yep. And I'm going to leave us with this. I think aliens exist, and they come here and they abduct us, right?
Yeah.
And I've asked this before, and but not on the show, so I'm going to give this to all of our viewers. Is it possible, because we believe in aliens, and aliens come and they abduct us, and then they probe us or whatever, right? Is it possible that our aliens, have aliens, to their aliens?
Other aliens come and abduct them.
Yeah. And they don't understand, right?
Well,
like, how far does this
Andrea,
go?
And I'm like I said, I don't know because I'm not an expert in this subject. But spending time with her, the one thing that I thought was interesting is she's saying that there's different colonies, different planets and stuff of extraterrestrials, and some are more ancient and some are younger, and we're the babies. And so, these guys are kind of keeping an eye on these guys, while these guys kind of keep an eye on us, and then it's just all yeah,
because you have the universe, and then I think there's other realms that we can cross over and go into, and that's where you have the different beings that come through, and that's again where I think Bigfoot crosses through.
Oh, really? So you think that's still like a portal in different realms? Mm-hmm. That's your theory. And there's so many theories about Bigfoot.
Yep. And other
it's different depending on the region and location too, right? Because if he's in Alaska, he looks like a Yeti, or Russia, he looks like a Yeti. Here, he looks like Bigfoot, and he's brown. Maybe they're different species.
Of tigers. There's a snow leopard, and there's this and there's that. Well, so they're different Bigfoots, and maybe they all come from different places, or they're different.
Yeah.
They're different races. Yeah.
A hairless ass.
Is that your psychic sense of where it's coming from, or
yes?
Okay,
yeah,
that's right.
See, what's funny with me is because I can actually see portals. So when you look out over the road, whenever it's really hot, and you see the little squiggly lines going up, that's what I see as a portal. Whenever I go into an area, I see that, and that's where they can cross over.
So
isn't technically even a window a portal?
A window can be a portal, yes. A mirror can be a portal.
Were there any portals in Virginia City?
Yes.
I'm so interested to see if you see any portals in the Mary.
Yes, there's one
man.
in the Washoe Club.
Is there? Okay.
Yes, and then also the Knights of Pythias. There's definitely one there.
I felt the Knights of Pythias was just, I don't want to say creepy because that's kind of a generic term. But you could tell who's ever in there didn't want us in there. But I mean, it was a secretive society, so that makes sense.
Yep.
But the Washoe, if you're comfortable with saying it, was it on the first floor?
No, the second floor.
Okay. Towards the back?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Above the crypt area.
Yeah. Where Michael scared the shit out of me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
He loves telling
That wasn't a portal. That was just.
So, and I'll be honest
Yes,
with you.
that is what it is.
I think something like that can affect people differently. And for some reason, when I get into a lot of those locations, I am more comfortable being by myself, walking around in the dark with no light, and I become very mischievous. I really do.
That's
He's
The
like a
booze on the
gnome.
battleship. Yeah, I'm like a gnome in that regard. Booze on the battleship. I traverse the entire battleship in an alien costume with no light, and
And
basically
with
just
the
scared the
mask
bejesus
on, that's hard to see.
Yeah, and I didn't have any problems. I had no problems. It was like I was meant to be there. It was crazy.
Sometimes I make fun of myself because when I feel male energy, I do not want to be by myself in areas. And there's this location on my husband's that I feel a ton of energy. And I think that this building was closed, but I had to go in because I had left some stuff in there. And I didn't want to go by myself. And so this woman who was working there, she was the maintenance, she's cleaning up, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And all the lights are off. And this building is like World War I era old, okay?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Can you turn the light on?" He's like, "Sure." And I was making fun of myself the whole time. I'm like, I have been to asylums. I have been to haunted prisons. I have gone to all these crazy places and investigated. And this one location just gave me the creeps. Do you guys ever have the area where you're like, I just don't want to be here?
Trans-Allegheny for me was I was drawn to it, but in the lobotomy area, I actually had to leave because I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there. But I ended up going back in, and I normally don't move people on, but there was like 13, 14 that was just ready to go. And Brandon Cooper was actually there with me. He's a shaman, and we were with a group of other people, but he was actually helping to move them on as well. And it's like I said, I would not normally do that in a location, but there are plenty there.
You and asking me for help. I think that's another story.
Yep.
Can you imagine if they did a lobotomy and a circumcision at the same time? It would be a lobotomy for my hog and me.
Yes. And I think that is your next pair of chonies right there.
I would say there was a time at Yorktown when I felt like, hey, maybe I don't want to walk down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and that's probably been the only time.
Have you guys been to Gettysburg? You guys have been to Gettysburg?
Yeah.
There were a couple places, and I would say it's the only. And I've been to some pretty places that have some terrible history, and I know there's residual energy there that's just very painful. But Gettysburg is the one and only place that I actually ran out of the location crying. And I'm not an overly emotional person. And it was like once I allowed it to tap into that part of me, I could not stop. And I was so embarrassed. And there was these 18-year-old cowboys. They had their cowboy hats and they're like, "You okay, ma'am?" And I was just like, "Hello, just let me cry." Let this emotion pass.
It's funny that you bring that up because in Gettysburg, I actually almost saw somebody die.
Like legitimately, or there was
his
legitimate.
roommate.
Did you scare them?
Yeah. No, they made themselves a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and almost choked to death.
They had a peanut allergy.
Nope, they just put on the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh.
And I was
That
in
they
the room
pulled
next
out
door and I could hear it.
Did you do the honey?
I thought I was going to have to. We're talking like 4 a.m, okay? And I can hear him in the bathroom going,
You were sharing a room with this person.
I was kind enough to give him my spare bed
Okay.
because he forgot to book a room, but came to Gettysburg anyway. Didn't pack anything, didn't get a room, but somehow he managed to smuggle in through the airport an entire loaf of bread, a jar of jam, and a jar of peanut butter.
You can't make this up. And you
You
allowed
know
this
he
person
brought that
into the
in. He
room?
went to the store.
I don't know
picked
that
it
he
up.
did.
He picked it up at the gas station.
In Gettysburg.
Oh,
He
okay.
had nowhere to go.
There's
This was
no
in Gettysburg.
places.
I'm pretty sure he traveled with this stuff. Okay? Because it wasn't a full loaf. It was like half a loaf. It was a loaf that he had been using. Okay? He shows up at my room at like 2:30 in the morning.
Ryan said priorities.
Yep.
And he's
You know,
like, hey.
after an investigation, I don't care who you are, what you are, where you are. There is nothing better than a cold PB&J after an investigation.
Oh, I agree. I love Uncrustables, man.
I mean,
Yes.
after every investigation, I just have the munchies. I just want
But
to eat.
That's
it
because
shows
so much energy is used when you're doing the investigations. You're hungry afterward.
So there's my exercise. There's my workout.
Yep,
I was burning calories
man.
investigating.
This guy shows up 3 a.m, he's talking to me, makes himself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then tries to go to sleep and proceeds to choke on it. It was the craziest freaking night of my life, right there in Gettysburg.
Did you know this guy before?
Actually, no, that was actually my
I
first
did.
time meeting him.
I knew him.
Okay, yeah, like you might really be autistic.
Yeah.
Some random
Let me
guy
tell
in
you this.
your room.
His name is Michael Cook, and he is the third owner of Beacon TV.
Oh, I know him.
Yep.
Yes. The crazy ginger with the beard.
Yeah.
Don't ever share a room with him.
No, I don't plan on it. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is our show. Thank you, Shayna, for coming on.
yeah, it was fun.
How can people find you?
Instagram, Sweet and Spooky, and TikTok, Sweet and Spooky.
Awesome. Also, I will say this as last thing before we go. Tomorrow, for those who may be fans or not, Sleep Token's full album is debuted tomorrow. Myself and Brian Fuller, we will. I'm sorry, not Brian Fuller. Joshua Adia. We Animal Expeditions. We will be doing a full reaction video to the entire album all the way through. So feel free to join us for that. We will be doing that live. I'm not entirely sure on the time, but just keep checking in and I'll post it. I promise.
Nice.
All right.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.